welcome everyone to a live stream. I don't really have a title for this. Let's pull this off so we can see it. There we go. How's it going, everyone? I'm Eric. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm joined by my good friend and NASCAR Truck Series driver and team owner, Jordan Harrison. Jordan, it's been a long time since you've been. It's been a few months. I shouldn't say a long time. It's been a few months.
It feels like a long time.
It has been a while since you've been on this channel. But what's been going on with you, Jordan? Thanks for being on.
Yeah, man. Always a pleasure. Always great to come and hang out with you and talk racing and all that's going on in the world of NASCAR on our side of the world. And it's been a crazy couple months, but you know what? We're two races away from finishing out the 2020 season. And I got to be honest with you. When you and I were doing our Icebox Pickup Throwdown Challenge a couple months ago, I figured we were going to be lucky if we got the whole season in, and here we are. The end is in sight. We're surviving the crazy season that we've been going through on the racing schedule, and we just came off of a good finish in Texas, so we're all smiles here at the shop, and we're ready to finish off these next two strong.
Well, I did want to ask you about Texas because I was there yesterday, but before and during all the rain and everything.
Have your clothes dried out yet?
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. Now I got to watch from the luxury suites. I was high rolling at Texas this weekend by my standards, but it was great to see. Like you said, had a great run at Texas, a top 15 run. Talk about your day. It was an exciting playoff race. It was exciting from where I was watching, but talk about how big a day that was for you guys and your team.
It just felt so good after the trouble that we had in Kansas the week before. We actually decided to take 007 that we ran at Kansas. We're just like, you know what? We're not going to run that truck anymore this year. It has given us enough trouble. And so I actually took chassis number 1, the first truck I ever had. It had a new body put on this year. And that was his first time that it actually raced this season. And we had one of our longtime partners, Sefton Steel, on the truck. They're based out of Houston, right down the road from a racetrack, kind of in your neck of the woods where you're at. So was really great to have those guys there. They actually were in some suites too at the racetrack. So was glad to have Patrick Collier from Sefton Steel hanging out with us. And I had Randy Knighton from Nightfire. He has a condo over there in Turn 2. So he got to watch some of the race. But man, I got to tell you, we worked hard for that one. We started 26, I think it was. Yeah. And every time a caution flag came out, we were coming down pit road. We threw, I think we threw at least 3 spring rubbers in the left rear. We took rounds out of the right rear. We went down on the track bar. We tried all kind of stuff to try to get that truck tuned up yesterday. And every time we made an adjustment, we kept getting better and better. So, it was nice. We restarted. I think we were 18th on that final restart and drove from 18th to 13th to finish up there. So I'm glad I had a good couple of laps there to finish strong. And it was just cool. We had that 6 at Talladega a couple of weeks ago. We've had some hit and miss runs here. The no practice deal, as much as I love it, it's made it a little harder for us to get our stuff dialed in this year. So Martinsville and Phoenix, 2 tracks coming up that are good for us. I'm excited about it. We finally moved back into the top 20 in points, which is a big deal for our team. So to finish good at Texas, somebody showed me a stat earlier today. I think we finished in the top 20 at least once the last 4 years. So it was cool to keep that streak going in the truck series. And I got to say the best thing of it all is the truck didn't get any damage. So it's always nice. You can bring it home and it's in one piece. So good day all around, a good momentum day for our team. Everybody's working so hard. The guys were at the shop. We got ready to load up at 5 p.m. on Wednesday to send the truck and hauler on the road. And my crew chief already looked at it. He said, man, I don't really like this. So we ended up staying until 2 o'clock that morning, basically going back on the pull-down rig, reworked the whole front end. And so, I definitely give my guys props for digging in there and hanging in late. I know they don't like those late nights, but everybody dug in a little deeper and made it happen. So we had that. We actually had a crazy day after the race was over. As you saw, there was a lot of action that went on in the truck race. There were some tempers that flared.
I wanted to ask about that. Yeah, because we saw people who watched, they saw Ben Rhodes was in a lot of it and involved in a few instances. I saw a video, it was kind of the end of a video from Alan Cavana that indicated that maybe Rhodes and Chris Neckis got into a little bit of a physical shoving match after the race. But yeah, what was your take on all the playoff drama we saw yesterday?
I got to say, I think between ThorSport and KBM, it's going to be fun to watch those guys because, Sauter wrecked Friesen, and Friesen's kind of KBM Alliance truck with where they get their chassis from over there. So I don't think the ThorSport guys made any friends with the KBM guys over the weekend. So a little Ford versus Toyota feud there a little bit. And I saw that who was it? Was it Eggers that tweeted out to Matt Kenseth asking for some advice about how to take care of things in Martinsville? So all I can say is that we're going to be watching. I think we start 16th at Martinsville, somewhere in that neck of the woods this Friday night. It's going to be a night race at Martinsville. That's going to be fun. They've had the late model race there was under the lights there last season. And I think they only had 7 cars running at the end after starting 40 of them. So if that's any premonition of what might come, I think we're going to be in for an interesting show. But, all I can say is just getting late in the season. A lot of guys in the truck series, they run maybe a little bit more aggressive than they should at times just because they've got a lot of pressure. They've got to prove themselves. You got a lot of guys that, like Christian, that are here toward the end of the season. They got to prove themselves. They may not know what next year holds. So as a driver, sometimes you put yourselves in a little sketchier position you want to, and sometimes end up in a wreck or somebody wrecks you or vice versa. So here late in the season, it's always crazy. And for us, we just try to take, Texas was an opportunity race for us. There were some good trucks that fell out and we tuned on our stuff and made it better. And when you can be there to take advantage of those positions, a small team like us, man, we eat it all up. So it felt good to get that for sure. But it's going to be a good race to watch in Martinsville this weekend. That's for sure.
Yeah, and speaking of Martinsville, I want to talk about that now because you have a new truck, a new paint scheme to debut. I believe we have it here. Is it okay for us to reveal the paint scheme for this weekend, Jordan?
Yeah, we actually, I just hit send like 2 minutes ago on the, I got Chris and I were sitting here working on it. And we just hit send on the press release to go out. So I think you've got a layout. This is pretty cool. So we debuted the Race to Freedom truck at Texas earlier this year with US LawShield, Vault-Tec, and SAR USA on it. So the guys from US LawShield had such a great time. They really liked what we have going on in our program and what our team stands for. And we have a lot of things that line up. So it was cool to get back together with US LawShield. We've linked back up. And we have the Race to Freedom Truck 2 is going to be debuting again at Martinsville Speedway this weekend. Really cool colors, kind of an inverse of what you guys normally see with the black and the neon yellow, like what's here behind me. I got my camera backwards. But it's really cool. We got our kind of our swoosh splash paint scheme on the side. We got US LawShield. It's going to be on the quarter panels. We've got GAT marketing on the rear bumper, and we have hashtag gun vote on the hood of the truck and the deck lid to get kind of raise some awareness for people to get out and vote in this election, just to be aware of some of the things that are around being able to own a gun and some of the self-defense stuff that US LawShield is trying to promote as well. So pretty awesome to get linked up. I'm a gun owner, and it's pretty cool to get linked up with a lot of people that think the same way we do, and be able to promote what they have going on is super special for not only me, but for my family and for our team as well. So I appreciate you letting us share the paint scheme. I hope everybody loves it. We debuted the red earlier this season, and I got to say, a lot of my cars growing up and legend cars and late models, I had red out on everything, and I hadn't drove a red race car in 5 years. So when we had the Race of Freedom truck, we put the red numbers on there, and everybody loved it. So cool to bring that back on the racetrack.
Yeah, everyone just saw it. I'm looking at the chat. NASCAR Taco Bell said that scheme is wallpaper worthy. A lot of people seem to really like, got to be that guy. Also says he really likes the red. Someone said, oh, this is the guy that kept wrecking me in NASCAR Heat 4. So
my bad.
But no, the comments, everyone loves the scheme. And we'll talk more about it in a second. I want to let everyone know watching that, yes, we will be opening it up to fan questions for Jordan here in just a few minutes. But that's a fantastic scheme, Jordan. And Martinsville is a track that I believe a year ago you finished top 12 in, I believe. So
I think we were either 12 or 13, somewhere in that range there. And it just kind of like what Texas was this past weekend. A lot of tempers flare, guys get angry, lose their patience, and they use that truck up. And I think same thing. We started 16th or 17th last year, and half the field tried to wreck each other coming to the checkered flag. So we'll try and play that same strategy out again this year.
So, I was going to ask what your approach is to see if maybe you can better that into a top 10, perhaps. Sounds like you're expecting a lot of tempers. And after Texas, I can't say you'd be wrong. I don't know. I mean, but is there anything that you feel like you can do that's in your control at Martinsville besides just, I don't know, just hope you're not near the Eckes Ben Rhodes inevitable catastrophe?
Like who else? I think Josh Balicki was a little upset with Ben Rhodes as well. You got Friesen is upset with Sauter. Who else was upset? You got Chandler Smith was fired up. I think he's racing this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
There's all kind of people mad at each other. But I think the biggest thing, if you go back and you watch some of the truck races at Martinsville, Timmy Hill and his guys executed really well when they got that top 5. I think it was earlier this year, or maybe it was last year. Track position is huge. Can you run the whole race on one set of tires and take fuel only to gain some track position in the pits? Is your truck good enough to get that track position? Can you maintain it once you get up there? So I think that's one of the things that we may try to focus on is some track position. If our truck's handling good enough to be able to roll the center and get on the throttle really well, because if you can't roll the center and get back in the throttle, the guys behind you are going to use your back bumper to scoot you out of the way. So, that's one thing we try to do. You try to keep the fenders on it, make sure that thing turns well there at the end and you're not getting a tire up or a flat tire. And a lot of it's, try not to piss anybody off the first half of the race and be able to race hard there at the end.
Yeah, it's all about being there to the end, making sure you still have all the fenders on the truck by the end of Martinsville. Well, it's going to be exciting to watch. I'm going to show everyone that scheme one last time. Be sure to watch out for the Race to Freedom Truck 2. Yeah, everyone can see it right now. You and I can't see it. Well, I can see it, Jordan. I guess you can't see it, but you probably got to memorize this point. But yeah, that's fantastic.
Pull it up, make sure I look at it and tell you guys, one of the cool things about it is we've got a lot of our other great partners on there too with Bomber Automotive Group. And I've got to give a shout out to the guys from the Racing Warehouse. They've actually been selling some of our sheet metal for the last couple of years. And Eric Lawson over there, you may have seen their Facebook group. Got to know those guys through they would basically come get our sheet metal after we wrecked, like stuff like what's right behind me. And so got to have a cool relationship with Eric, and those guys joined us.
This piece behind me right here, the 20 over there, that's from a Racing Warehouse, actually, right there.
There you go.
Ken's car. So yeah, they're great people over there.
They are. So it's been cool to get them. They're riding on the deck lid with us this weekend. So it's definitely really cool, to think about all the people that are involved in our program and what's coming on. So to not only have the support of you letting us to debut this paint scheme, all the guys from Pole Position Magazine and AE Engines that have been working with us on making all this happen. It's exciting, and it's our team has been very blessed to have some great people to work with. And at the end of the day, this is a job for all of us. We all work extremely hard, and but it's great when you get to work with people you enjoy being around and talking to that think like you. And that's kind of what this Race to Freedom truck is. We kind of call it a theme truck because in racing, our world is changing so much, and how we approach marketing and sponsorship and, how we align our partners. And that's why these theme trucks are so cool. We've got on our truck in Martinsville, we call it the Race to Freedom truck because what it is that we believe in and what we're promoting. But you've got 3 completely different companies that really complement each other and are able to align. And our race truck kind of brings all 3 companies together. So it's really cool. And it really triples our opportunity to get the word out there on what it is we're promoting. And US LawShield, I actually, I'll show you, I just got, go off camera for a second. I just got my card. So I'm an official US LawShield member. My card came in. So that was pretty awesome. So a lot of cool things going on, and man, I'm excited about it. And hopefully a lot of people will tune in. Like I said, a night race in Martinsville, we got a new paint scheme. I think it sounds like a perfect storm for another good finish for us.
Yeah, hopefully so. No, that's awesome to hear. You've had some great themed trucks this year. Like you had your dog Brex on the truck a few weeks back. That was hilarious. Like that's some of the best paint schemes this year. I feel like I've been on that 3 truck. I was telling my dad yesterday watching the race, I'm looking out there and I'm like, when you really step back and think about it, Jordan's got the best scheme out there, man. It's the most cohesive. Yesterday with Sefton on the car, and you had the Texas kind of logo next to the 3, and of course the yellow 3 pops out on the racetrack. So definitely always great looking trucks and great partners to make it happen. So really quick before we transition over to the over 200 people watching live right now, and we'll take some questions from all of you guys for Jordan. I want to let everyone know that if you check my Twitter, which is in the description of this video, at Eric Estep 17. I'm about to tweet out. In fact, I'm going to do it right now. Tweeting out a giveaway tweet. We're going to be giving away, Jordan, do you still have them there? We're giving away a couple of Jordan's Daytona diecasts, I believe. I don't want to put you on the spot. Do you have them there?
I think I got one here. I'm going to pull it out of the box so everybody can see it real quick.
Beautiful. Absolutely fantastic.
Sweet. Lionel really did a great job. I mean, I never knew how the process worked, and they sent somebody here to the shop to take pictures, but there's the 164.
That's awesome.
As you can see, it's got the donut mark there on the side, on the quarter panel. It's still got the grease and grime. Got to see the K-Seal logo on there. Pretty cool. We've also got right here the 124. if you guys have gotten one of those, it's been so cool. Like I always told myself as a kid growing up, my parents still have my room pretty much untouched as it was when I moved out to go to college. I probably had 300 of these in my room growing up. I had the 164 thumbtack to the wall. I mean, I had every name brand. Yeah, what was it? You had Winter Circle. I had the Hot Wheels cars. I mean, I had all the old school diecast. So to finally have one come out, I mean, it's pretty cool to think about all the emotions that were around that Daytona finish. So to have that truck go and to see that the 124 sold out, that was wild. And then the 164 got to the one that you just tweeted about was cool. Walmart and Target picked it up for mass production. It's in the Wave 5 that Lionel put out this year. So next time you're in either Walmart or Target, look out for, you can actually kind of go do like a tour of all our sponsors. You can go by the toy aisle, grab your diecast car, go over to the automotive section, grab you some Lucas oil, then grab some K-Seal, and you can kind of like knock everything out at once. So, but no, in all reality, that was pretty special to see that go from that finish and the emotion to now kind of have it in a permanent piece of history now. To have that memory there is pretty special.
Yeah, no, that is really cool. And that's fun. I've seen them at Walmart, and that is just kind of, that's got to be pretty cool to see it. But spoken like a true NASCAR driver, plugging all your sponsors you possibly can right there. That's awesome. But yes, I just put the tweet out, and we've already got over 70 retweets on it. So go retweet that tweet. Jordan will retweet it as well at some point, and we will announce the winners shortly after the live stream tonight. We'll announce them within the next couple of hours, at least I should say, and we'll see who can win some of those awesome Daytona Jordan Anderson truck diecasts. Well, with that being said, I feel like we can move to some fan questions. We've already got a lot of people have already sent in questions. I haven't picked out very many great ones just yet, but we do have a couple here. First one, and I'll say this one first because it was one of the earliest, but it was also a super chat from GN. He actually sent 2 super chats, 2 separate questions. Jordan.
Okay.
The first question: do you play the game Among Us? Have you heard of Among Us?
Yes, I do.
Do you play it? So you play
it? I do. Pink is always suspect, I think.
That's awesome. Well, we should get together and we should do an Among Us.
I gotta admit, I had no idea what it was, and I saw enough TikTok videos of it. I had to get on there. So I enjoyed. I actually was playing it when we were traveling the other day. So a little something to take your mind. But it was one of those things I saw everybody else playing. It's like I got to get on it. So. Yeah.
I was kind of the same way. It was a little bit of a bandwagon effect, but it is fun. Well, we'll have to get together and play it at some point. Also, his second question, thank you for the super chat, GN. How hard is it as an owner to get equipment into Canada like you did in 2019? Are customs difficult and expensive to get through? I don't know anything about this. Is that actually difficult?
A lot of work. It's
really?
It's actually a process. Good question there. It's actually a process that starts probably 2 months before we even go up there and race. We have a brokerage agency that we basically submit our US DOT number, which is how we put a number on our tractor trailer and everything that pulls it. We have a manifest, and we basically list every single item that's in the trailer, where it was manufactured, the value of it. So we've got to have all that stuff covered and sent to them before we even head up there. So basically when our truck driver gets to the border, he hands them this paperwork, and everything goes through. So it wasn't always that organized. I mean, I drove up there for the first time in 2015 by myself and showed up at the border with no paperwork. and the best part was when I left back in 2015, I drove through like the car lane with my trailer, and they didn't like that. So they're honestly, though, it's pretty cool. Every time that we've driven across the border going up there, the guys at the border are always so awesome. Whether you're going into Canada or coming back in the States, everybody at the border is always really cool, and they always ask questions about the race team. And we always make sure to hook them up with some T-shirts and autograph cards. I won't say we bribe them, but we make sure they pull for the 3 truck whenever they're watching a race. So it's always cool. But yeah, it's amazing, man. There's a lot of awesome race fans north of the border up in Canada. So I hate that we didn't go get the chance to go race at Canadian Tire this year and see everybody up there. But who knows? We haven't seen the schedule yet for next season yet. So I hope we go back. I know that NASCAR has come out and said the Truck Series is definitely racing at COTA. And I got to admit, it would not hurt my feelings if we went to more than one road course here. I've been pushing that forever, is let's run more road course races in the Truck Series. Xfinity, you've seen more and more of them. And it always, have you ever watched a road course race that wasn't entertaining? I mean, they're always crazy with all kind of different storylines and strategies going on. So
Yeah.
hopefully we can get back up there to Canada. And I always love seeing everybody up there because I have a couple of fans that always make sure to bring me a couple Molson beers and give me some Canadian syrup. So I missed out on that this year. So hopefully we'll get to make it back up there next year.
That's cool. Well, they treat you well up there.
They
We
do.
have a few other questions. Roxanne says, hey, Jordan, this is JA3 Forever from Twitter. Must be a very big fan. I was wondering how I could get a Jordan Anderson hat. They ran out on your site. You're awesome. I'm always rooting for you. Where else can people get hats?
So we got some stuff that we're working on. I actually show you guys here soon. We've got a bunch of new stuff that shipped in. We've got some sweatshirts, like the plain logo shirts. We've got some hats that just came in. So the guy that was basically doing a lot of our merchandise this year was out in St. Louis. They did a bunch of race car drivers, and COVID hit them pretty hard, and they kind of stopped doing what they were doing for us. So we actually were just talking about it today that on sponsorjordan.com, we're going to get some merchandise back up. So if you guys will give me maybe a week or two, we'll get through these next few races and we'll get some more hats and merch. So check out sponsorjordan.com. Maybe in like a week or two, I'll definitely tweet it out. I'm going to get some hoodies, sweatshirts, t-shirts, and hats. Will be on the site soon. You guys can wait and give them to your best friends as Christmas presents, or you can get them for yourself. But Roxy, I definitely appreciate the support. We'll make sure we get you a hat here soon.
Definitely. Well, good. Just in time for Christmas. That'll be absolutely fantastic. Blue Cups and a super chat. You mentioned it a little bit a second ago, but what is your thoughts of being on a NASCAR diecast? You mentioned a little bit how growing up that was a big deal to you, but yeah, just how special is that?
It was cool. I think the neatest part of it was my dad was in Walmart one day and like he sent me a picture of the truck on the diecast aisle there, and that was pretty cool. But I mean, that was where my passion and love for racing came from. You know, being 5, 6, 7, all the way up till I was in college. You know, collecting diecasts. Like, man, one day I want to have my own. I mean, that was pretty cool. And that was where I fell in love. I mean, I could tell you every driver sponsor, what car number they were, even to the day, like I pay attention to details. That was where I think it all started. And I mean, I spent hours. I would make racetracks in the backyard. My mom, pretty much lost her temper with me one time when I was 12 because I would take duct tape and make racetracks on the floor. And then when I would pull the duct tape off, it would ruin the carpet. So, my room has a couple like permanent stains from racetrack duct tape tracks, I guess you could call them, growing up. So that's cool. And it's just like, that's the whole circle of this racing journey that we've been on is, every now and then I got to pinch myself. I'm like, man, we shouldn't even be here. I remember, like 7, 8 years ago thinking, you know, if I can just get a chance to race one truck race, like that's all I want, just a shot to go do it. And, you know, here we are. I've run 120 truck races and, you know, run a handful of the Xfinity races and still have my goals on trying to get in the Cup car at some point or another. So, but it's just been such a blessing, the journey that we've been on and the people that we've met and the things we've been able to do. I mean, getting able to travel every weekend. And I got a great group of guys that help make all this possible and a lot of amazing partners that believe in us. And we're working really hard to do some cool things next year. Not being able to go into too much detail yet because we still have a lot of work left to do on it, but I think 21 is going to be really exciting with some of the stuff that we're working on, and hopefully get to announce some of it here soon. But man, the journey is so cool that we're on. It's you mentioned earlier being positive. It's a lot of hard work, a lot of long hours, a lot of sacrifice, and sometimes it's a little stressful. But at the end of the day, man, it's like you. I mean, you get to do what you love to do, and you get to see a lot of cool things, meet a lot of cool people. So it's what more can you ask for?
Certainly, yeah. There's this question from Dan kind of going off. I mean, you're talking about 2021 already, but just looking at 2020, Dan asks, Jordan, do you have any goals before the end of this season? Well,
got 2 races left. So if I got to be honest with you, man, I really want to get one more top 15 before it's over. And, you know, we really wanted to get another top 10, which to be honest, I mean, to finish second at Daytona and then 6th at Talladega, we got 2 top 10s this year already. So that's been super awesome to get those finishes. And I think if we can go out and run good at Martinsville, like I said, that's always a shot in the dark how that race is going to go.
Mm-hmm.
Just a lot of your finish, I won't say is a lot on luck, but, you know, if somebody can ruin your day at Martinsville by turning around or something happening, freak like that. But Phoenix is one of my favorite tracks. It's we had a kind of a crazy run last year. We broke a truck arm out last season, so didn't really get a good shake at it, but always run really good there at Phoenix. So I'd love to kind of maybe sneak our way into maybe another top 15 there at Phoenix as well. So we want to run good these next 2 races. No mechanical failures, safe travels, and just end 2020 on a high note with a good finish, and hopefully bring it home. Because I gotta be honest with you, like I said earlier, the fact that we're going to be going to these next 2 races and run all 23 races this year, that's a crazy, huge goal to be able to accomplish in itself. So I'm probably like a lot of you guys. I can't wait for January 1st to roll around and we can put 21 on everything.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure everyone agrees with that. Actually, I want to ask you about that a little bit. This is sort of 2 questions I have. First off, how involved were the drivers, or in your case, even the team owners, in kind of working with NASCAR this year and the tracks to get the whole truck schedule in? And then I guess I'll just start with that question. But like, how involved do you feel like you were, or was it really just NASCAR and everybody just doing the best they could?
So, when everything came to halt that weekend in Atlanta, we were all there at the racetrack. Haulers were parked. We were outside the garage area, and that's when they basically came to us and said, "Hey, everybody needs to go home. This is getting big. We got to cancel everything this weekend." So we're all kind of in shock at that point, and NASCAR basically just let us know at that time, hang tight, give us a couple weeks. So 3 weeks go by, and NASCAR went to a majority of the Cup owners, Xfinity owners, and then the truck owners, and kind of created a conference call group of each series individually and talked to us about ideas. We brainstormed. We had 1-hour phone calls every week, and it was kind of like a task force of all the team owners getting together, figuring out, hey, here's the dilemma we have with COVID. It's a worldwide pandemic. It's definitely hit our entire world hard. It's going to change the way we do things. How can we get back racing, and what can we do? And your mind would be blown at some of the conversations and ideas. I mean, we went from this end of the spectrum to the other end of the spectrum on ideas and ways to get back racing. But I think what we end up with, the no practice and qualifying thing, it limits the time of travel we have to have. It limits the amount of time we're at a hotel room, and obviously the economy of our sport took a pretty hard hit this year. And so we were trying to figure out how can the teams recoup some of that lost money and some of the, basically having to have 3 months of bills and no income as a race team. How can we kind of recover some of that? So, for us as a race team, we've probably saved, I think we did the other day, almost 1,600 miles on our motors by not practicing and qualifying every weekend. And that adds up. That's like a full rebuild and a half on a motor. So you take into consideration not buying a set of tires for practice at $2,500 a piece. The 1-day shows I'm a huge fan of. I wish we had a little bit of practice so we could get our stuff tuned a little better, as that's the driver me coming out. But the team owner says, I love it. It's less hotel rooms, less days of travel. Guys can be home with their families more here at the shop. So, even down to the protocols down NASCAR has done, as much as I wish, we could have people down in the garage area. A lot of us teams are around each other often, and we travel the same way. We travel close, so they keep just the teams there together in the garage area. So they've done a good job on a lot of fronts. It's been a year unlike any other, but I definitely give NASCAR a big 2 thumbs up for what they've done to keep us racing this year, and to give the fans at home. I mean, it was so cool that we were one of the first sports. We were the first sport really back racing or back competing. Yeah. When all this happened. So hopefully, through all that, we gained some new fans that learn more about our sport and what it is we do. And it has been cool to meet some new people on Twitter and Instagram that are following along and what we're doing. So, for the fact that a lot of the teams are still going through all this is great. And, like I said, we learned a lot. I think that NASCAR as a whole, we were so set of like, this is how things have been done. This is how we got to keep doing it. Well, all of a sudden we get hit with a pandemic and we're like, all right, we got to really look at how we do things and change this up. And I think a lot of the stuff that happened this year that you guys saw, you would have never seen had this not happened. So I think out of this, there's going to be a lot of good that NASCAR's learned. They just basically were able to say, we're going to try something. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. We got to try things and figure out how to keep racing. So, they did a great job with that task force, and a lot of great people and smart people came up with the decisions and figured out what we're doing now. So it's been great.
Yeah, it's been remarkable how quickly NASCAR was able to get back on track. I mean, definitely they were off the air for a couple months more or less, but compared to other sports, NASCAR I think has done a very solid job, and I know I've been impressed. So it's interesting to hear how a lot of the teams were involved, especially early on, in kind of setting the best and worst case scenarios up. Well,
Right.
that's really cool to hear. Larry asked in the chat, he asked how Fueled by Fans started.
Oh, another good question, man. Everybody's on point tonight.
We got
So
a lot of Jordan fans here. People know a lot about you, man. They've been following you for a long time.
that's awesome. Well, thanks for the question there, Larry. So it all goes back to 2016 when I was driving the 66 truck in the truck series that year. And we had raced at Chicagoland the week before, and we were supposed to go to New Hampshire the following week. And we had a pretty good sponsor. My hometown of Columbia, South Carolina was actually one of our biggest partners that year, but they were only a sponsor for 10 races out of the 23 races that year. So that was a new team that we kind of started up. I helped start that up with another guy, and didn't really have full funding for the whole year, but we tried to do it week by week. So we blew a motor at Chicagoland, was the last motor that we really had at that point of the year until our next sponsor payment came in later that season. We were going to miss the race in New Hampshire because we didn't have another motor, B, or the money to buy another motor or get that one fixed. So we blew that motor at Chicago, and I'm on the way home, and I'm like, man, I want to go run this race in New Hampshire, keep our team rolling. And I created a little graphic, and I put a blank truck out there, made a little graphic, and pushed out on Twitter, and basically like, hey, this is my last ditch effort. Does anybody know anyone in New Hampshire, the New England area, like anywhere up there that wants to be on a truck? We will make you a really sweet deal. We need a motor. Perfect opportunity. Let's do this. And I probably had like 10 or 15 people tweet me like, hey, we don't know anybody, but we want to help you a little bit. We can do, $25, or we can do $50. We can do little amounts. So I was sitting there talking to my dad that night. This was on like a Sunday night. And I'm like, we need to do a crowdfunded race car that is fueled by fans. So I went on the internet and I bought sponsorjordan.com and stayed up to like 2:00 in the morning and built a website. And we had like the qualifying level was $25. The green flag level was $50. We had the green flag. What do we have after that? The checker flag level, the gold, silver. We had a couple of different levels. And long story short, we hit our goal that we needed. We had like 150 names that were on the truck. We had 15 different companies. And we even picked up a primary sponsor out of the whole deal that jumped on the hood for the race. And we're able to buy that new motor. And then it was one thing that kind of led to, once we hit that race, fast forward 2017, when I went and drove the one truck, we got wrecked at Atlanta. And that was the year we only had one truck. We thought our season was done. And a couple of fans were like, man, you made it through last year. Do another Fuel by Fans truck. Let's fix that truck. And we fixed that thing, and we went to Kansas and finished top 20 the next race after the Fuel by Fans truck. So it's been so cool. I mentioned earlier all the people, and that's what's so cool about Fuel by Fans is before COVID and all this stuff happened, people would walk at me like, hey, I'm John. I was on your truck at, Chicagoland, or hey, my name is Shannon. I was on your truck at Bristol. We made so many great friends and people through the whole Fuel by Fans truck. And, I know we haven't done as much this year just because I just honestly just wanted to wait. I know a lot of other people have a lot of their own things they're trying to fight through this year. So we wanted to save the Fuel by Fans truck for 2021 and get through this year together. And the fans, I know they're right there with us. They've fueled our whole season just by supporting us and being there for us. But, honestly, our sport is nothing without all the great fans that watch our races, that, wear our T-shirts and pull for us and like our pictures on Instagram. Like that makes it all worth it. So our team is not just fueled by fans because of what they've done on the race truck. It's all the people that watch our races and support us and are watching the show. So Larry, great question, and appreciate all your support.
Yeah, that's still one of the coolest stories out of racing the last several years. And actually, I saw one. Yeah, NASCAR Stop Motions and More says that he was one of the names on the truck that year. So that's pretty awesome.
There you go.
We actually got a super chat from Ari, I think is how you say their name, and their super chat literally just says, "Can you tell Jordan I said hi?" So Ari says hi.
What's up, Ari? Hope you're having a good night.
That's awesome. Let's see. I had a question there and I lost it. Well, until I find it again, let me ask you my second question. I wanted to ask you this because you've been kind of talking as a driver. You also occasionally talk as a team owner. It kind of goes back and forth. We've seen on the Cup Series side of things, I know you're a truck guy, you're very focused on your truck team, but on the Cup Series side of things, all these new teams being announced, and a lot of them are, younger team owners that in a lot of cases have raced or raced recently, like Justin Marks, or recently Matt Tift and BJ McLeod bought a charter and things like that. Obviously the next gen car is a big draw for these guys jumping into the Cup Series. But what do you think is it about right now specifically that is maybe causing some of these people to jump into the Cup Series? Again, I know you're a truck guy, so I don't know how much you really say about this, but what kind of things are they looking for? Like, if you're an owner, if you had the money or wanted to go Cup racing, like, what would be some of the things you'd be looking for before jumping into Cup?
So I think you look at the timing of the new car coming in 2022, and I pushed it back a year. It's an opportunity for a new team owner to come in and not have to have the 100,000 square foot shop and 200-300 employees. They're able to come in and have more of a plug and play team and get the equipment. So and I think you're also going to see a passing of the guard. I mean, you look at the Cup Series right now, every big powerhouse Cup team is owned by with all due respect to those guys, an older businessman or older team owner. So I think you're going to see a passing of the guard, whether it's the next 5 years or next 10 years. And obviously those powerhouse teams are still going to be there and they're going to be around for many years to come. But I think you've got younger team owners like Justin Marks. The guy knows the sport. He's been in it for a long time. And I think they see an opportunity with a new business model coming from a team ownership in the Cup Series. And the Cup Series and Xfinity Series and Truck Series have all three different business models, the way the purse structure is, the way the points are. So each series kind of operates on its own. The Truck Series, you're seeing almost 40 trucks every race. They open the field up. So people can show up now and know they're going to go and be able to race and sell sponsorship for it. So it used to be, I mean, when you were a new team or you wanted to go to a race, you were always scared to death. Like, what if I sell this big sponsor and go to the racetrack? I mean, I had it happen back in 2016. We had a brand new sponsor in the sport. We went to Atlanta and we missed the show. That's the hardest conversation to explain to a company, like, hey, sorry, we can't race. So I think you've seen a lot of new teams coming that way, and the same thing with the Cup Series. So, as crazy as things are right now, our economy has here in the U.S. has actually rebounded really well. A lot of companies are having great months and have really recovered. I know I got a lot of friends in the restaurant business that have been struggling through this, but in a lot of other sectors, companies are doing well. People are able to keep working through all this stuff that COVID has thrown at us. So, there's a lot of companies that are wanting to jump into racing. They see this, we got a lot of new fans, I think, through, being one of the first sports back. And I think that's helped us a lot. But yeah, to go back to your question, I think people are excited about this new business model coming with the new Cup car that's going to come out. BJ has always been one of those guys. He's probably one of the smartest ones in the Cup garage that can take $1 and make it last really long. And he works well with Rick Ware and all those guys. So a lot of interesting things are moving and shaking. And I think what you're seeing is, it used to be teams would come in and see, like, we're going to spend as much money as we can to go as quick as we can. And teams are kind of changing their model, like, hey, we're going to start small and build our way up and try to build some longevity in the sport. So, with the 95 going away, with the 13 going away on the Cup side, two great teams, as hard as that is, it's going to bring an opportunity for new faces to come in. So I'm paying really close attention to it. It's going to be interesting to see how it shakes out. And you're always learning, always trying to figure out how to do things better. So it's going to be interesting. I think you're going to see a lot of new team owners continue to join the Truck Series, the Xfinity Series, and the Cup Series for the next few years for sure.
Awesome. I appreciate the insight there, given that I asked that question about the worst way I possibly could. But as we start to wrap up here, I did see a good question. I thought it was a good question. Where'd it go? I lose these questions, this chat. Oh, there you go. Caleb. We got so many people leaving comments. I lose track of them easily. Caleb, thanks for the question. He asked, if you can race anyone from any era, who would it be?
Still bummed I never got a chance to race against Jeff Gordon. That would be that would have been something really cool to be able to do. That would probably be my one pick. Like, if I go to like mid 90s and have a chance to be in like a good Cup car and race against Jeff Gordon, that would have been a really cool opportunity. Anything from the 90s, man, that was here. That's where I fell in love with the sport, watching guys like Ricky Rudd and Jeff Gordon, all those guys run against each other. That was Rusty Wallace, even Earnhardt back in the day. That was my golden years growing up watching that. So Gordon back in his prime, and then in like late 90s, that would have been really cool.
Yeah, that I'm sure a lot of drivers are with you on that one. It's interesting because now that Gordon's been, I guess, out of NASCAR, I guess he raced some in 2016, but there's some guys that in the Cup Series, a lot of drivers probably haven't raced against someone like Jeff Gordon, and I don't know, like, that makes me feel old. It's not often I feel that way.
Something funny was Texas last year when Biffle came back to run for KBM, like we were restarting in front of him. We were like 5th or 6th on one of those restarts. And I watched the race and was like listening to some of the audio after the fact. And Biffle was like, who is this Anderson guy in front of me? Who is this? And so, growing up watching Biffle run, that was kind of a cool moment there to get the race against him. So
That's funny.
That was pretty cool.
That is funny. Nicholas Gray actually sent a super chat and asked, "What's your motivation each race when going up against big teams and he says like KBM?"
Yeah, you definitely have to keep things in perspective. I know as the team owner what our budget is, where we are financially, where we are in our equipment and our motors. I mean, there's 100 different variables that go into how I race that particular weekend. I mean, there's some race weekends where we've got a really good sponsor and we've got a good truck and we're able to go buy all the tires. There's some weeks where we maybe don't have a full sponsor and we've got to run on scuffs, or we've got to take care of that truck because we're going to run it the next week. So a lot of different variables go into where, guys from KBM, Thorsport, GMS, those guys are 110% every lap, no matter what. We're walking that fine line between you're pushing the truck as hard as you can and you're trying to make sure you take care of your equipment. So, I know that, if I, knock somebody and hit the right side, it's going to be, $4,500 to put a right side on that truck. Or if you've been to spindle or, been to Rearenhausen, or you run your motor hot and you blow your motor up, I could sit here all day and run you through the costs of all that stuff. So as a driver, I've gotten the back of my head. I'm aware of those things. And, at the same time, I want to run good and compete as good as I can, but you got to respect your equipment and take care of that stuff. And that's where I feel like that driving style that I've had, there have been times where I've been probably maybe as aggressive as somebody else, and there's been times that I haven't. But, to go from where we were in 2018 to where we are now, to be able to build up our motors and our inventory of trucks and, all that has been from, every single year. If I'm not replacing a truck or fixing parts and pieces, I can go buy another motor, or I can go buy another transmission. I always joke about it's like going back to NASCAR Thunder 2003, 4, 5, and you're in the career mode. And every single year you can make your equipment better and buy more parts and pieces. So that's really what our team has been like. I mean, that's really how you have to balance it. And you really kind of pick and choose your battles. If you've got, somebody in the GMS truck, those guys are going to run you hard as they can, and you kind of got to maybe give them a little more room or race them. Like Martinsville this weekend, this truck is not going to race again this year. So I'm going to run a little harder than I normally would and maybe use up a little bit of it. So it's fun when you get to have that shot to go do that and run these trucks as hard as some of the other guys. So, but at the end of the day, like I said, you pick and choose your battles. You got to be smart with it. And, at the end of the day, like the last 2 months, trying to make decisions to run our team so that when Phoenix gets here in 2 weeks, we've got, we were just talking about it, you've got almost 2 months until you go back to Daytona. So a race team has no income for really 2 months. So you've got to really kind of start setting enough money aside to make sure that, rent's paid, that your payroll is taken care of, that you have enough money to rebuild your motors and hang new bodies on your truck. So a lot of that stuff is factoring. I've got 3 or 4 different budgets that I run throughout the year, different models to look at to kind of know where we're at and what we can possibly do, worst case and best case scenario. So a lot of hamster wheels are running up there up top sometimes, and just try to figure out which lane is the best one.
Yeah, it is fun to watch those truck races. My dad pointed this out yesterday. It really is kind of watching a race within a race, because he was following your race yesterday really closely and seeing how there was a clear strategy behind what you're doing. You mentioned earlier how every caution you were on pit road making adjustments, and making the truck better, and ultimately worked out for you. So it is it's fun to watch. There's multiple storylines to follow every single. I mean, that's not just trucks, that's Xfinity and Cup, but it's really cool to hear that perspective firsthand from someone who's living it every day, every week.
We had yesterday at one point, we had that caution with I think a fuel window yesterday was like 50 laps, somewhere in there was a fuel run, I think, for the truck race. And a caution came out with like 48 to go. And all the front runners were going to be like right there on the bubble. So we came down with 1 to go and topped off on fuel. And we're like, there was 5 or 6 of us that came in and topped off. I'm like, man, if this thing goes green all the way, some of these guys might run out of fuel and you get some spots. Obviously it didn't work out that way, but as a kind of a team where we're at running within that 15th to 20th range, you sometimes have to do the opposite of what everybody else in the front does. So sometimes that strategy works out for you. I mean, like that's how it was at Talladega again this year. We did the opposite of all the front guys did, and it really worked out in our favor. So it's cool to see, like you said, there is definitely I would tell you right now, in the truck race, you've honestly got probably 4 different races going on, just like you'd have an Xfinity and Cup, guys on different budgets and allocations of equipment and even experience. You guys saw James Boucher was out there this past week racing. I hadn't been in a truck in 5 years. He was probably in a race of his own, just trying to get back acclimated to being in a truck. So that's the cool thing about watching racing, is you've got all different scenarios going on.
Yeah, certainly. Well, with that being said, we've gotten a lot of great questions tonight. We could probably keep doing this for hours and hours on end, but we've been going for a while. We have almost 300 people watching right now. Jordan, should we show everyone? Let's show everyone that truck from Martinsville one last time in case anybody didn't see it. But thank you for being on tonight. Yeah, very exciting truck. Here it is for Martinsville this weekend. The Race to Freedom Truck 2. That's it.
Yeah, it's really cool. So I really appreciate those guys giving us creative freedom to do that paint scheme. I really love the black and the red. Looks really sharp on there. So U.S. LawShield on the side, got marketing on the back bumper. We got hashtag done to vote. Make sure you guys get out and vote. The election coming up. So it's pretty cool. And like I said earlier, if anybody's just joined, I did just get my U.S. LawShield membership. Super proud to have that. And like I said, appreciate those guys and you and everybody from NASCAR Pole Position Magazine and all their work with us. And it's so cool to have a lot of great partners join us this year. Who would have ever thought? I mean, I look at our team and the cool thing about, since we started our team back in 2018, ever since we've had new partners join us, they've stayed with us. I mean, I look at Bommarito and Lucas Oil, the guys from Capital City Towing, Sefton Steel, they were one of the ones that we got when we first started our team. We've gained these new partners, and they've stuck with us and came back every single year. So U.S. LawShield, this is their second race with us after they were first in the truck at Texas earlier this year. So we got in a wreck the first Texas race, so no pressure, but we definitely got to make sure we get a good finish for those guys at Martinsville this weekend and get them some good TV time. So it's cool to see new partners coming in the sport. Anytime that, whether it's on our team or other team, I'm always excited to see new companies join the sport because it shows that what we're doing is working. So we couldn't do it without the fans that are watching. I'm glad you got a good crowd of people watching us tonight, man. I hope they all like the truck. Make sure you guys tweet me if you like the truck, J66 Anderson. We've got the truck is actually getting wrapped this week, so I'll make sure to post some pictures and videos as that process goes down and as we get ready to go to the paperclip under the lights this Friday night. That's going to be interesting.
Oh, yeah, I forgot it's going to be under the lights. I'm not used to saying under the lights in reference to Martinsville.
Green flag, man. It's going to be wild.
That's going to be awesome. That truck's going to absolutely pop. Well, yes, we have all of Jordan's links down in the description, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, JordanAndersonRacing.com. So, yeah, make sure you're following Jordan on all social medias. Jordan, I mean, you know this. I don't need to tell you this, but everyone who knows Jordan's one of the best drivers in NASCAR when it comes to social media and communicating with fans. So we really appreciate you being on the stream here tonight. Thank you everyone for sending in your questions. And I'm checking Twitter. We're up over 300 retweets now for those Diecast giveaways.
Retweet.
So
one lucky winner can go on these cars.
Get Diecast directly from the man himself. I don't know if we're actually going to send them those. We might have different ones to sell them. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But yeah, stay tuned for that. I'll announce the winner of that giveaway here shortly. But Jordan, thank you for being on, and best of luck at Martinsville the rest of the season.
Eric, we're going to throw in one extra thing. Whoever retweets this and wins this car, I'm going to handwrite your name to ride with us at Phoenix. So how about that? We got some lucky fan is going to ride our truck at Phoenix. So make sure you guys retweet and do what we got going on Twitter there.
That's exciting. Not only do you get a Diecast if you win the giveaway, you get on a NASCAR race truck. That's fantastic. Well, thank you, Jordan, for being on the show tonight. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We'll see you soon. We'll see you next time. Jordan, we'll have to have you on the channel again more frequently. Maybe next season, maybe whenever it is, maybe the off season. I don't know. We'll have to do this more frequently because this is too much fun.
Well, as soon as we get our plans for next year figured out, we'll definitely keep you in loop and we'll keep everybody updated. But as always, Eric, great to catch up with you. Glad you're back home. I know you really wanted to watch a cup race yesterday, but probably a good thing you came on back home. But thanks for letting me come on and hang out a little bit. And thanks for all the fans that watched. And make sure you guys tune in. Fox Sports 1 this Friday night.
Awesome.
See you guys.
Yep. Looking forward to it.
Thanks, Eric.